And our banking consultant, Dr. Richmond Etuahene, has kicked against a request by local banks for an extended deadline for the Bank of Ghana new capital requirement to 2020. Now, the central bank has set a December 2018 deadline for its new capital requirement.
Chief executives of local banks met with President Akufo-Addo earlier this week to negotiate a possible extension of the payment of new capital requirements to 2022. The capital requirement set at 400 million cedis from the previous 120 million cedis is to be paid no later than December 2018, leaving local banks fearful that the banking sector could be destabilized. But the banking consultant, Dr. Richmond Etuahene, disagrees.
In economic sense, I think to 2020 is quite unreasonable because the economic fundamentals would have changed, such that by the time they even had the nearly $100 million, the fundamentals would have changed. So for me, it is quite, I won't say reasonable, it's not reasonable.
Dr. Etuahene tasked the local banks to practice good corporate governance.
The bank itself must be up and doing with good corporate governance practices. Have a very good board, effective, independent executive directors. Set good committees. Our committees and our board should not be flooded by political activists. It should not be family cronies. It should not be nepotism or cronyism. We went to the same school, Prempeh College. So whether I can sit on a board or not, the next day he sits on a board. So, if we want us to be up and doing, Bank of Ghana has done well, bringing the corporate governance directives last month. But we must ensure that we enforce it to the word so that we can have a better board system.
Following a meeting Monday, the president established a committee in hopes to come to an agreement feasible for both the government and local banks.
Now, it's clear that some local banks in the country raise concerns that meeting this minimum capital requirement of 400 million cedis is not going to be possible with them. And therefore, they've hoped and put up a proposal between this two-day meeting between them and the president, between April 9 and April 10, a proposal of a staggered payment form or plan of a sort. And so the Association of Indigenous Banks met with President Akufo-Addo on Monday, April 9, 2 days ago. The local banks want the presidency to extend the deadline from December 2018 to a deadline of December 2022. Now, the banks made the proposal to provide 170 million cedis by the end of 2018. That's this year. So instead of the deadline in total for the minimum capital requirement being December 2018, the banks are proposing to provide 170 million cedis by the end of the year, while 220 million cedis is provided by the banks by the end of 2019. And the bank further proposes for 280 million cedis to be provided by the end of 2020. So we can see them pushing the payments between the years ahead. 340 million by the end of 2021, and finally 400 million cedis by 2022. This is to make it a form of create some ease within the banking sector for them to meet this minimum capital requirement put forward by the Bank of Ghana. Now, between this two-day meeting, a committee was set up, which is going to be made up of 3 members from the BOG, 3 members from the Ministry of Finance, 3 from local banks, and a chair from the presidency. The committee is expected to submit the final reports to the president on the 26th of May, 2018. So the banking sector basically feels like this deadline could in fact destabilize the local banking sector in the country, and that's what they're pushing forward for